Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. I've actually put a bit of effort into getting to this location at this time of day. It is quite late, so I need to get a shelter set up, but we're somewhere quite special. We're in a mining area, and you would have seen an entrance to an adit, the old stone archway that goes in. We'll have a little look at that. I did come here a while back and there was some activity here. There's been more activity, and as you can see, somebody's marked a trail to get in here, but they're not here to wild camp. I'm here to do an overnighter. It's a beautiful location, a river running down through a steep valley in basically predominantly an old oak and hazel tree, bit of regenerated woodland. It really is quite nice and beautiful, and it's atmospheric. Like I said, this is an old industrial site. Many hundreds of years ago there would have been a lot of mining activity, so there is that air of oldie world about it. But I've just had a look down there. Another reason I came here, to see what's actually happening or if anything else had happened here. And yes, it looks like they've made a break in to the mine shaft. I'm not going in, it's nothing to do with me. I went into a mine in last year I think it was, one that I knew something about. I don't recommend, I'm saying don't do this, leave it to the professionals. But down here in Cornwall we have a lot of mine explorers. This is obviously down to them, but I feel really chuffed for them that they seem to have broke into the mine, because a certain part of it is collapsed. We'll have a look, but that's a secondary agenda. We've got to get a camp set up. So let's crack on. That's my kit down there. As you can see, I've scrabbled up onto what would have been a bank, and I think it would have been part of the mining works, as in a roadway or trackway, as you can see, winding its way up through the valley. That's where they've broke in, and that was the old adit entrance. Somewhere amongst here there's been a collapse, which has forced them to find an alternative way into the entrance. I'm going to grab a torch and go into the first little bit here. Quite simply, I've been in there. It only goes I don't know, 20-30 meters, and it's the gentle slope which leads to where there's been a collapse, and obviously forced people to do what they've done. Don't do this. I've been in there several times. This bit, I know a little bit about it, what I'm doing, but I'm not going in the other bit. They can do that. I'll watch that on one of their videos. Right then guys, let's make our way to the entrance. It's a beautiful stone entrance. There's been a lot of work, like stonemasonry work, you know, it's really been cut, and it all fits together nicely. But here we go. Put a torch on. As you can see, it's extremely gloomy in here. You've got rocks down there. You can see it's quite high up there. And there is there's a lot of moisture and water coming in off the walls here. There is actually sheep poo in here, so the sheep have been coming in here as well. Yeah, a lot colder in here as well. And here we have it. You can see where there's been a definite blockage. There's been a cave in. You can see it up there, and there you go, people. And that's why they had to break in somewhere else. Yeah, you can really feel time, you know, from yesteryear in here. I wonder how many people have walked this you know, trackway and entrance into that dark mine in underneath the hill. It's quite a thought when you think about it like that. Right, let's head on out. There's a lot of water dripping here. Like I said, don't even think about doing this. I know a little bit about this bit of mine. Right, and it does feel bright, even though it felt quite gloomy earlier being outside, but it does actually feel light here now. Right, I'm climbing up the bank. Oh, I've got a fly in my mouth. I'm actually going to climb up on top of the track and just show you a little bit where they've broke in to bypass that collapse. So, but yeah, I'm not going nowhere near it because it's nothing to do with me. Like I said, they're obviously professionals, they know what they're doing. All I'm doing is here to see if they've, well, wild camp first, but see if they've actually broke through, because it seemed like there was a shovel propped up against the bank there for many months and nothing was happening. And then I kind of didn't get a chance to come back with life and that. So we're going to have a very quick look. Although I don't want to mess about there because I just don't feel happy messing around with holes in the ground. Right, I did notice actually there is another adit, and I know there's another adit just a bit further back, and that's in a state of collapse as well. As you can see, they've had to remove a lot of material. There's a little bit of shuttering there. No tools. There was tools left here last time, but yeah, they haven't been here for a while because obviously there's leaves and stuff here, but you can see that they've made a breakthrough. Don't know if my torch has got enough light to have a look. Don't want to get too far into the bank. Yeah, they've made a breakthrough there. Let's see if we can... Yeah, they've made a breakthrough into it. That's as far as I'm going. Sorry people, nothing to do with me. Whew. Well, I've actually got camp all set up and I'm ready for this evening. I want to get a little bit of firewood because I'm going to have a fire. You know, why not, just to enjoy the ambience of this particular area and feel the vibe, let it soak it all in. It's coming in bad weather the weekend, so I think I might have scored this evening. So yeah, I'm all set up. I'll let you have a little look and we'll have a little wander around this area before it gets too dark to have any good kind of quality film footage of it. But it does feel like a really enchanted kind of woodland. It has that feel. So let's have a look at where and what I've actually set up and why I've done it. Well, there you go. I've brought a chair just for added comfort tonight. The tarp teepee, and the reason I've picked it here is it is absolutely dead flat and level. Mind you, if I go for a pee, I don't want to be wandering too far, or I'll end up rolling all the way down. And I could find myself down over that bank into the river. So yeah, I've got something to think about in the middle of the night if I need a pee. But yeah, everything's squared away. I'm ready to go. It's just a pot noodle for convenience tonight. I've got a can of all day breakfast for the morning. I've brought one cider just to enjoy. But let's have a little walk and have a little look around down by the river. It really is nice here. I do like it. There is a few little insects flying around in midges, so when I get that fire going, it will be a blessing. So the location basically is in a really steep valley, and this valley runs for possibly 1.5 miles, continuing up to the moors. Now there is a stream running all the way down through. There's farmland on the opposite side, and there is a lot of patches of just dead scrubland as well. But in amongst that, there's little oases like this, woodlands, like natural woodlands without all the commercial trees, and it really is beautiful. Right, I've got to get down here without sliding down. It is quite steep. It doesn't look it on film. You can see I'm actually working hard against the slope here. Now you're probably thinking it would be nice to actually camp by the river, and it would be, but that was just so flat up there, and I wanted to try the tarp teepee setup. So you really get a lot of water hammering down through here, and it is over the years beginning to create even more of a V shape in the valley here. But let's just follow it for a little while. I am actually, there is a purpose other than just showing you the area. I'm scanning out for some wood, which I'll come back and collect once we're off camera. Hello, I'm up there. Right, let's follow this trail. It's a really nice trail. I've been here of a summer's evening, and it is really, you know, at the end of the day when it's been boiling hot, and it's just that real nice coolness of the water trickling down here. It just cools the air. You can see that is historic mining slag heap there. When they were mining, I reckon this little stream obviously would have been used to help wash out all the mining stuff, the ore. It would have been toxic. But this stream, I do know, runs through at the top of the hill, an area where there's a lot of agricultural animals and equestrian setups. So I would be a little bit dubious unless I filtered and absolutely boiled, you know, boiled it to the point it was almost gone in the pan sort of thing, because I wouldn't be 100% convinced I'd want to take any of that for drinking. Now, hidden away in amongst this woodland everywhere you go you will find remnants of old mining works, and this looks to be something like what I would represent or think of as an engine house. There is no chimney. There are engine houses probably half a mile away from here, but I'm guessing at one point this may have had a chimney. I'm not too sure, but it is old mining works anyway, you can see that. Now, if only walls could talk, there'd be some stories coming out of this place. It started to actually dim off quite a bit. I am in a valley, but I'm facing to the south, so I should keep a bit of sun. But I need to start thinking about getting some firewood and getting back to camp, and starting to settle into the evening and just watch the watch the evening slide away. I am tired, so it won't be a late one. And I did burn myself out getting here. It was a bit of a slog. It wasn't the distance. I don't know, it just felt a bit of a slog. But anyway, let's get some firewood. Got my coffee, just waiting for my noodles to soak up all the water and flavour. When they soften, I'll start eating them. Now, I have a passing interest in folklore, traditions and things like that, of that nature, hence the brand of my hiking sticks, Folklore. And I was reading about witches the other day. I don't practice witchcraft and nothing like that. I have an interest in it because it's deep-rooted. It's deep-rooted in the rural communities especially, and particularly in the areas that I live down here in Cornwall and Devon. And it was possibly amongst the last places it did actually die out as such in the old sense of the world. There still is witches and coverns to this day. But yeah, I was reading about witches, and amongst many of the things that they would have had items to use, they would have had a stick. Now, I predominantly use hazel, so there's every reason to think that they would have used hazel, quite simply because hazel is pretty easy to straighten, or it can be found straight. Now, the stick was used to aid them, across the footpaths, the moors, the bogs, marshes, rivers. Yeah, so not only was it an item for that, travelling, it could also be used to listen to the other world and basically channel energy from that to themselves. And how they did that, they would get the stick, rest it on the ground, place their head on it, and from that means the energy and the sound could converse through the stick to their head, to themselves, and they could obviously hear what was being said from the other world, and in turn converse back through to the other world through the stick. So yeah, that was quite fascinating for me. And it did say that some of the sticks were probably forked, which meant what I would deduce as a thumbstick. But I should imagine most people wouldn't have gone to that bother, or even witches. They would have had a nice good shank and just rested their head on top the shank, resting it on the ground where they seemed or deemed fit, and then they could obviously hear what was happening in the other world. I just obviously found that quite fascinating, because obviously I'm a stick maker, and I'm in places like this. Now, sometimes you just don't want no hassle, you don't want no flaff, and you just open a cupboard and grab the first thing that you can grab to hand. Most of us, somewhere in the back of the cupboard, will possibly have a pot noodle, and that's what that is. That's a pot noodle, literally pulled from the cupboard, chucked in my bag, and that'll do me tonight. I've got a can of all day breakfast, so that'll do tomorrow morning. But I'm going to eat my pot noodle and just soak in the atmosphere. Now, I picked this spork up when I was at the bushcraft show, not this year, last year. And it's done me well. I'm fed up of all my plastic ones either snapping or actually getting melted. Yeah, you can never understand how they do or how you end up melting them. But for some reason, I've had 2 or 3 over the years that I've either left them get too close to the gas canister or fire, and they melt. So I've decided, do you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to invest in a metal one for the princely sum of just a few quid, I think it was. I'm about to try the bottle opener. I have never used a bottle opener on this one. Let's see if it works. Right, I'm going to put my glasses on for this because it's getting really gloomy in here. And this is a technical operation. Just a standard bottle cap and a spork. This is something I can't practice. Is it actually a bottle opener? No, that isn't a bottle opener. It must be this. Yes. Excuse my ignorance. I'm going to have to do some research and work out what that actually is. A spork saved the day. Only one can, so if I messed it up I couldn't do a retake on this. So yeah, first time, get it right. Yeah, I'm from the West Country. It's got to be cider. It's just what we do down here. Right, if you had any leanings towards the paranormal or anything like that, this is probably not a good place to be as we lose light. Anyway, I'm heading down to the river before we lose complete light. I don't want to be stumbling in and around here like I just have. Now I've had to put my smock on because quite simply there is beginning to get a little bit of a chill. Like I've just said and you've seen, we are sitting in an extremely steep valley, so all the cold air will sink here. I am, you know, fair way up from the river, but it's still going to be colder in here than it would be out in the open moorland or the agricultural land. But yeah, let's just see if we can get down by the river without tripping over. Well, I'm just here, I'm letting the fire die down. It is starting to get quite cold actually. The first time this year wild camping I felt a bit of a chill. So I think it's time to retire inside the tent and yeah, set up. I haven't set up yet, so I've got that joy to do. But I'm looking forward to actually getting into my sleeping bag, doing up the zip and actually snuggling into the warmth of the sleeping bag, because I'm actually feeling it tonight, and this isn't winter yet, so yeah. I'm cold. Well then, this tarp tent set up, the teepee one, instantly I can feel the heat difference than my normal tarp tent setup where I have the open front bit where you crawl through. There is a downside to this. I do feel slightly enclosed. I know that is the idea, to retain some of the heat and stop the drafts, but what I'm missing out on is being able to look out into the forest and see the actual trees and things like that. So yeah, I do feel enclosed. I'm guessing that's what anybody who is a regular tarp tent person or a tarp user probably opts for tarps, because they like to be able to be a little bit more part of the outdoor experience. If you're in a tent, this is probably normal to you. I'm not really a tent person. I use tarps 99.99% of the time, so being fully enclosed is not the norm for me, but I can tell I'm, you know, going to use this as the temperatures drop, quite simply because it's just feeling so much more pleasant already. I don't have any real cold drafts or blasts of cold air coming at me. When I was in Scotland with Dave, we had a few issues on a mountainside, and we found ourselves, we weren't able to get lower down, so we were stuck on this mountain, and yeah, my tarp froze on the inside and outside, and I could feel, even though I was really, you know, hunkered down inside bivy bag and sleeping bags, the cold draft coming through. So I'm guessing, this being sealed now, this would have been a better option to have used on that mountainside. So yeah, this is a good setup, the teepee, to have in my arsenal. You've come along on a few videos watching me practice to get it sorted, so I'm happy with it. So yeah, I'm going to grab some sleep, because I've got to get up reasonably early tomorrow because of the walkout. I've been able to jiggle things around and maneuver a little bit with my home life and things I got to do to be able to come out tonight. So yeah, I'm going to go get some sleep and I'll catch you in the morning. And yeah, see you later. Morning guys. Last night I woke up a couple times and I thought I heard voices. Obviously that instantly, made me become a little bit more awake, but once the brain kicked in I realised it was the river and the gurgling of the water coming down through the gorge. So yeah, that was a little bit disconcerting, because obviously as soon as your brain kicks in you become that little bit more aware and awake, and then obviously going back to sleep takes that a little bit longer. But there's condensation on the inside of the tarp, a little bit more than what it would be if it was the open door setup. I'm feeling quite stiff, so I'm already contemplating the decision of actually getting out of my sleeping bag and what that means for me getting out of this tent, as in bending over and putting my shoes on and that. I'm at that point in life where if I was at home, some mornings you get out, sit on the edge of the bed, and for just 10 to 15 seconds you consider the implications of the struggle to put a pair of socks on bending over. So yeah, it's going to be interesting getting out of here. Catch you in a minute. Well, I've got sheep wandering up through the actual gorge, and I can actually hear cows bellowing behind me on the higher ground above me. I'm guessing they may be coming down for their morning drink. So yeah, obviously this is a pattern of life for this place. The animals all come here to grab a drink before heading up onto the high ground. Well, I'm just drinking up my coffee. I'm all packed up. I've just got my chair there. There is sheep staring at me. In fact, I'm surrounded by sheep everywhere you look. There has been cattle moving through, so that's one thing to consider when I camp here next time. Make sure I'm not in a thoroughfare where they're using to get down in the water. I can see the odd cow pat here, but it looks like they're coming down the backside and coming down to the river there. It's just too steep and brackeny for them to push through and gorse. But in any case, I'm going to enjoy this, just soak in the atmosphere and contemplate walking out of here. Right, I'm going to try and follow this sheep trail on top of this extremely steep bank. I think I'm going to just check out the other adit down here and see if they've had a little dig at that one. They seem to be more concerned with the one I showed you yesterday. But just This is just curiosity. Right, I think I found the adit. Let's have a look. I don't think it's been disturbed. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'll have to look at my old video to see if that was a smaller. I think it was a smaller entrance, you know. I think somebody has been down in there. Obviously, I'm not going to. I've got no. I think it was a lot smaller than that. Well then guys, that was a bit of a slog coming back up there. I'm a bit wet from pushing against all the bracken. Right then, I'm heading off home. I got lots and lots to do as per usual, but just a cautionary note, don't ever go into adits and mines because quite simply they're all dangerous, prone to collapses, flooding and everything else that you can think of that would try to kill you in there. So stay out of them. Yeah, that was a nice wild camp. Enjoyed that. Took you somewhere different. I enjoyed it. It was a really nice wild camp. It's one for the memory bank, that is. But I'm going to head off out of here. I've still got to go down through this old byway or a footpath. And yeah, make my way home. So also left to be said, as usual, take care, stay safe, and hope to catch you guys on the trail.